I'm not hitting cancel. I just hit go live. Uh-oh. What happened?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. No. Why does it enable this stupid add-on every
Wonder what
time?
happened.
Disabled. Okay, but is it like... Hold on. Hold on. I want to make sure this is actually like working properly. Uh-oh. No. Okay, the audio's fine.
Oh, it's working on my end.
But did like the title or anything change? Okay, but is it like...
No. Right now it's the same for me. I've
Okay.
refreshed it like 3 or 4 times.
Good. Here, well, let me see if I can edit the description. Okay, no, we're good. Okay. We are good.
Am I like...
I'm going to reset this media source real quick. Um... There we go. Okay, cool. And
Am I
we...
quiet on your end or no?
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
Tweet this out real quick. Boom.
Okay. Post. Post.
Cool. All right. Well, let's get her started, boys. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of Follow My Tracers, live on YouTube. I'm one of your hosts, Figure9, Tony, and I'm joined by Power Grudge, as always, who's Jim, and Harley. Guys, what's going on?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet. How are your weeks? What have you guys been playing?
Harley, you're probably more exciting than me, so you better go first.
What do you mean? All I've been playing is Call of Duty.
You're more exciting than me. I haven't really
Just
been
Cold
playing-
War.
So just like the multiplayer then, eh?
Oh wait, no, I did some Fortnite.
Yeah.
Experienced the event.
Yep.
Oh, I'm
Practice.
so jealous.
Yeah, it was fun.
Dabbled a little bit in season 5.
Yep.
Just a little toe in the water.
See what it's all about.
That's about it.
Yeah. Cool. Jim, you haven't been playing much, you said?
No. Like, for anybody who knows me listening to the show, my birthday was this past Wednesday.
Happy birthday.
And, I know. Thank you. And I haven't really gotten any games or anything. I don't know. I've just been playing some Age of Calamity still. I played a bit of Fortnite with Harley at about 5 in the morning on Wednesday. Played a game, but other than that, I haven't really been playing a whole lot. Like I dabbled in the COD a little bit as of recording today, but nothing really, man. Like it's been a pretty slow week, admittedly, for gaming for me.
Everyone has those weeks, man. I was like that a few weeks ago when work was just nuts. So
Oh wait, we also played Wildlands. Ghost Recon Wildlands.
You're right.
That's true.
You're right.
That's true.
We started playing that thanks to Jim for gifting that to all of us. But we started Wildlands, and that's been we played a little bit of it. We went on the hardest. What is it called? Ghost mode or something like that.
Ghost mode.
Yeah, which means that it's permadeath. So if your character dies, like it's over. You got to start a new character. So that's been fun. It's a silly game. I would say silly just because it's open world. So like there's just a lot of funny stuff that can happen, but it's really fun. Like it's pretty tactical. It's really in depth in terms of the customization. It's a big world. I'm excited to play more of it. That's for sure.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, me too. I feel like when we get together, we were playing it with Kevin, future extra special guest. And I feel like when we play games together, like the four of us, we usually stick to, things that kind of require a little bit of planning. Like with Warzone, we're pretty tactical when it comes to that. We don't just run around. Unfortunately, we played Operation Flashpoint, which you kind of have to be a little more tactical and kind of plan out, where you're going to go, who you're going to engage, and blah, blah, blah. And I feel like playing Wildlands is just like the next natural progression. Because Wildlands is, compared to Flashpoint, it's actually a game. Sorry for anybody who's been, at least Dragon Rising, but Ghost Recon's actually got a lot of polish on that end of things, I think. But yeah, I do agree. I'm pretty, story-wise, whatever, but like gameplay-wise, I'm pretty excited for where it goes and where we end up going with it. Especially since like you said, we're playing on the hardest mode, and like Tony and I already died, so everything
Well,
I had like a couple attachments already, and they're gone. And I gotta refine them again, and blah blah blah. But
yeah, I mean, we died because I rammed us into the enemy convoy, and then our truck blew up. So, you know what? It's okay because we had to get that out of our system because that was like less than an hour into the game, I would say. So,
yeah,
you
we
know,
weren't like terribly far.
yeah. So like, it's good that we got that out of our system, and now we kind of recognize the, you know, the permadeath. So we'll be nice and tactical from here on out.
Hmm.
On my end, I've been playing a good amount of Fortnite, the new season. That's been a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. I've also been playing more DBZ Kakarot. That's a really fun game. I'm taking my time with it because I'm really enjoying it. It's almost like watching the anime, but you're playing it, so I'm cool with that. And I've been playing some Halo 5, as you're seeing on screen right here. I ranked up and got a placement in this solo/duo queue arena playlist that's new for the season. So you'll see me while on this podcast, kind of progressing through, winning, losing, being really bad, and then sometimes being really good. You'll get the full range of it. This is also recorded on a Series X, so you guys might notice some cool things there. It has auto HDR, faster load times. Halo 5 already it was 60 frames, so you're not going to notice any difference there. Unfortunately, my capture is only 1080p 60, so it's not captured in 4K. But yeah, this was recorded on the Series X, so that's what I've been doing. A quick thank you to everyone who has tuned into our podcast so far, especially last week. Last week was it was fun. I think we'll all admit we had a good time last week. It was kind of off the cuff, last minute. We plans fell through, so we had to improvise, and I think we learned our lesson that we should always have a backup plan. This week it's gonna have more of a topic, and yeah, so appreciate everyone who watched last week and who watched any episode. To be honest, we appreciate the support. And a reminder for everyone watching live on YouTube or even just watching the VOD on YouTube that you guys can leave a comment. You can ask questions. You can give us your thoughts or opinions, and we'll do our best to answer them live on the next episode. We'll have a little reader response section. So a reminder that you guys can do that, and we're going to try to get back to you. So now it's time for our Fuel Up with G Fuel section. We're not sponsored. Not an ad. We just all like G Fuel. So boys, I know that you've had some G Fuel today already, and you might be drinking some right now. So, what are you drinking? Somebody go first.
I'm drinking some raging gummy fish.
Okay, there you go. That's a good one.
There you go.
Jim?
Is that all you've had, Harley, or no?
Today,
Yeah.
right next to me right now.
Oh, there you go. Earlier today, I had the delicious tropical rain, which I'm a big fan of. I almost mixed it with watermelon because it's the only other flavor that kind of would make sense. At least they're the ones I have with tropical rain. But then I decided to have 28 ounces of watermelon. So I'm currently drinking the watermelon one still because almost 30 ounces is quite a bit of liquid, and I'm not complaining.
There you go. Tropic Rain's that's top tier. Absolute top tier.
Is it tropic or tropical?
It's tropical, but I say Tropic Rain.
Can't believe it.
Can't believe it. Wow. I'm having some green apple right now, which is a underrated top tier flavor in my opinion. It's very refreshing. Doesn't taste sour. It tastes like a green apple. It's good. Tastes like it should.
Can I say something controversial, actually?
Yeah.
To piggyback on Harley, Raging Gummy Fish, I don't feel as strongly towards it anymore than when I first had it. It's kind of, out of the 6 ones I have right now, it's probably the one I least look forward to having. And I'm not saying because I don't like it, but out of the 6 I have, that's the one I tried to go through all 6 instead of having like one consistently then going to the next one. I try to have them all relatively often. Whenever I have gummy fish, I tend to drink it as quick as possible. Not because it's not flavorful. It's very good, but I don't know. I can't believe I'm saying this. I don't think it's a top tier flavor in my eyes right now.
Interesting.
Compared to the ones I have anyway. I don't know. It's very good, don't get me wrong, but I will say I think out of the ones I have, I think probably my favorite one right now. It's got a nice, probably the wrong word, nice tardiness to it.
Which one's that?
The cherry limeade.
Oh, cherry limeade.
When I took a chance on, the last one I had a buy one get one deal, because I didn't have it in the sample pack when I first bought it. Not an ad, but very good.
Yeah,
Very
it's
good,
gone
I
now.
will say.
Buy
Nice.
it no more.
It is rare.
Um,
Maybe I'll just put it in a case and put it on display.
Save it.
save it, savor it.
Save it.
Renee in chat says Jim mic is really quiet. I think that was on my end, Renee. Can you confirm that everyone is, or everyone else listening to, everyone's audio should be good. That was from leftover settings from my last stream, because the game audio was too loud, so I had my desktop audio down below. But it should be, that was on my end, I think, so everyone should be good now. Makes sense on the. I think you're good, Jim. I think it was my end. So
Okay.
I agree with you on the Raging Gummy Fish in the sense that it's easier for flavors to not be top tier once you've had a lot more. I just think that there's a lot of really good G Fuel flavors, so it's kind of hard to be top tier, I think, because they're all good, but like only some of them are like, whoa, kind of good, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I feel, anyways. So again, not sponsored, not an ad. We just all like G Fuel a lot. Maybe someday in the future. But I thought that would be a fun little section to go over. And now, before we get into some news, we're gonna get into some Halo Infinite news. Cue the weekly Halo Infinite watch. I just played a little soundboard thing. So let's talk about some Infinite news that has come out so far this week. It was actually a pretty big week for Infinite in terms of news that wasn't right from the source. It's kind of just like a bunch of stuff all over. So we'll start with the Master Chief skin. There is a Pelican glider and a Warthog emote leaked for Fortnite. It's in-game. It's legit. It's definitely very real. That was leaked. So I think that's really cool. That's awesome. That's an instant buy for me. Like, doesn't matter. It's probably going to be the same amount as the Kratos skin that's currently in Fortnite, which we'll get to later, which is about 2,200 V-Bucks for the whole thing, or just 1,500 for just Chief. But pretty cool, and I think another indication that it was pretty clear that Infinite was supposed to be out, and that this was supposed to be a part of their marketing. And, of course, now that Infinite isn't out yet, but they're still kind of just rolling through with some of their marketing promotions. So we got a little bit Infinite news there, which is exciting. As well, there were a lot of rumors over the weekend, over the holiday weekend in the United States, Thanksgiving weekend, about the Halo Infinite Battle Royale, or the rumored Battle Royale. And community director Brian Gerard at 343 came out and he tweeted, "Nothing gets a post-holiday Monday going like fresh, unfounded Halo Infinite rumors." And as well, by the way, yes, I'm aware that we could help solve this with real news. We certainly have things we're overdue on and eager to talk more about. We're in the process of pulling together a year-end update, which we already knew about. We talked about that. Was it last week or the week before? I forget. But either way, he kind of just came out and said, yeah, there's rumors. Of course, they're unfounded, and we're aware, and we want to talk about things. And then GameSpot and a number of other news sources came out, and they were like publishing things that are pretty clickbaity, and they're like, oh, there's no, 343 shuts down the idea of a Halo Infinite Battle Royale, and there's no Halo Infinite Battle Royale. And if you read the articles, they kind of double back on it a little bit. They're kind of clickbaity headlines and tweets that they put out. It is quite the contrary, in my opinion. The last time 343 actually spoke about a Halo Infinite Battle Royale was back in 2019, when they said that the only BR they're interested in is the battle rifle, and that they didn't have any plans for a BR at launch. But they also said in the same statement that modes were subject to change prior to launch. And the statement that the community director put out, all he said was that the rumors are unfounded, which means that they weren't based off of anything. It doesn't mean that there's no battle royale, it just means that the rumors were, they came from nowhere. So there's a little bit of news that way, and clearly 343 is just trying to, I guess, keep everything together, because there's so much has leaked and come out about this game with the armor skins and and all the marketing stuff, right? So they're just trying to keep everything under wraps as good as they can because they want it to be a nice surprise for the fans. And all this stuff keeps coming out. It seems like every week they're just on damage control. They're just trying to control the narrative, and it's really hard to do that when you're not actually talking. So they recognize that. They understand that. So hopefully in this high-level update before the end of the year, they will give us some more information that we actually want to hear. And lastly, this is the last piece for Halo Infinite news. One of the motion capture actors for Master Chief, or the motion capture actor, I should say, Bruce Thomas, says that the game is ready to go for spring 2021. He said that in a recent interview, and this came by way of Games Radar, and thanks, Jim, for making this aware to me, or making me aware of this, I should say. So yeah, he came out and he was like, yeah, the game it's in the can, and it should be, good for spring 2021. It's hard to say if a mocap actor would actually have access to this kind of information. In my opinion, he probably filmed the mocap a long time ago. If you think about Infinite and the game demo that was the game demo that they showed back in July, Master Chief was moving around and doing stuff, right? So to me, the mocap was probably either done before COVID or they finished up a little bit of it in the last few months, but most of it was probably done beforehand anyways. So hard to say if this guy actually knows what he's talking about. I mean, he worked on the project, but would they ever go to a mocap actor and be like, hey, the game's coming out in spring 2021? Hard to say. They might say that maybe for the initial release date, right? Hey, it's coming out November 2020. But now that it's been delayed, like, why would they tell him when it's coming out now? It's kind of a weird one to me. So I think it's his best guess, or maybe the last thing he heard. But why would he know that info? So interesting piece of news nonetheless. It does lend credence to maybe that the game is actually closer to being done than we thought. And I brought that up a few weeks ago. I don't know if you guys remember, about some Twitter insiders that were like, yeah, the game's like basically done. It's content complete. They're just polishing. So, I mean, this kind of lines up with that. So maybe this kind of lends credence to that. But yeah, I mean, we gotta wait until the news comes from the horse's mouth,
Yeah, and like I'm not an expert in game development at all, and like at what stage you do certain things. To your guys' best knowledge, I know Harley, you've done some schooling for this, and Tony, you know more about this than I do, I'm assuming. How far along, or how soon would they do motion capture in a project like this? Like, would they focus on other stuff first, or is motion capture a pretty important part of game development on a game like this?
I'll let Harley speak to that first.
So mocap, I'd say it's probably in mid-early stages. Beginning, you have to kind of get your concepts ready, kind of get your art style and some of your assets. Mocap, could see though, say if they were doing some rewriting, I'd ask a mocap person to come back. So maybe that's where that kind of comes in.
Yep.
But usually it'd be done like in the beginning, near the beginning of it ish, so you can kind of get your models and your 3D assets kind of aligned to the motion.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too, Harley, from what I've kind of read up and know about it, is that mocap's done early to mid, because one thing that does take a lot of time to do in games is in-game cutscenes and just cutscenes in general, and that's where mocap is really, really heavy. So, I mean, when you're kind of getting your storyboard together and you're getting your cutscenes together, and okay, we're gonna have these pivotal moments where, they enter cutscenes and certain things happen, that's where the mocap comes in, right? So, and then to your point with the having everything kind of mapped to the mocap with the gameplay and all the animations, it's pretty important. So you're right, maybe he came in and they did some extra stuff, or they had to rewrite a few things, and that's where he's getting this info from. I could see that.
Possible.
Makes sense. Could be the case. I guess we'll see. I mean, I do think that we're going to get a release window in this high level update, so I don't think we're going to have to wait long to get a new release window. And that's it for Infinite Watch. I mean, pretty heavy this week. It kind of all over the place. We had the Fortnite skin and the Battle Royale stuff and the release date. So lots of stuff on Halo Infinite, which we're going to get to as our main topic very, very shortly. But let's move on to some news and current events. Lots of stuff out this week too. This is a packed episode. I'm gonna let Jim go first in terms of introducing something he wants to talk about with news.
So I've got two pieces of news I found interesting. One's more of a brief mention because I don't know how strong of a news story this would be. So I'll start with that. So apparently Rockstar Games could have possibly teased the next Grand Theft Auto in a teaser for some upcoming GTA Online content. So there's a trailer out for GTA Online. I guess it's a content update called I'm gonna butcher this, the Cayo Perico heist. And at some point in the trailer, there's coordinates shown on the bottom of the screen. And if you put those coordinates into Google Maps, it brings you to a road. I think it's Virginia. I'm going to check the article. This is via express.co.uk. And yep, in Virginia. And it brings you to the exact coordinates of a road that kind of looks like the Roman numerals for the number 6. Now, I think this is, part of me wants to say this is kind of a stretch because it almost sounds like too ridiculous to be true. But at the same time, in my head, I think it's kind of too good to be true because it brings you exactly to this spot. And I think that's kind of wild. I don't think Rockstar's, accidental with stuff like this. But what do you guys think?
That's
Have you
interesting.
seen the picture or no?
I haven't seen the picture. That's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, I wonder if it's a crazy
I would think
coincidence.
it's intentional.
I think so too, because like, what are the odds that actually happens? Right.
I would have to see like the Google Map picture, like if it's like clear as day, because if it's clear as day, like Call of Duty has been doing a like buttload of Easter egg stuff with its community, and maybe it's kind of like other games are starting to like see that reception be integrated into their own IPs. So maybe this is a nice little Easter egg kind of thing for the fans. It's been a while. I mean, GTA 5 has been out for quite a while.
Long time.
I don't think there's been any other news for GTA 6.
No, we haven't really gotten a whole lot in general.
Possibly this.
And it sucks too because in a short stretch of time in like the early 2000s to when GTA 4 came out, we got Grand Theft Auto 3, we got Vice City, we got San Andreas, and we got 4, plus all the PSP games. So we got a lot of GTA within a relatively short amount of time, like almost every 2 years type of deal. But since 2013, we've only had GTA 5. We've had the online content, and like a lot of content's been in there. But I'm gonna send you guys a picture during the show just to check out, but because it's almost too good to be true. But regardless, there's not a whole lot of news regarding GTA 6 in general. I've seen rumors online of, like speculation about where it's going to be set, but there's not really a whole lot of basis to anything really, just because Rockstar really haven't revealed a whole lot. It seems like their focus in general is, I guess, now on Red Dead Online as well, because I think I mentioned it in the last episode that the online mode is now standalone, so you can just get the online mode, and they've been putting some time into that. But anyway, the other piece of news I wanted to bring up, kind of because we're talking about Fortnite, brings me to another property that's going to be introducing seasons and a sort of battle pass. So Sea of Thieves is the game I'm talking about. So next year, Sea of Thieves is going to be implementing seasons into their game. So the seasons are going to be 3 months long. There's going to be 3 events in each season, because a game like Fortnite, for example, I'm not sure about COD, but a game like Fortnite, at the end of each season, they have a big event that sort of transitions into the next season. The Sea of Thieves seasons are going to have 3 events in each season, so about a third of the way through each thing. And I'm reading this information via Game Informer, but they're going to be introducing a new progression model, like I said, regular live events, and just a ton of little extras, a new Merchant Alliance quest. There was an arena type of PvP mode from what I understand. I've never played it, but they're going to not really put much time into that because they noticed the population for that wasn't very big. But what do you guys think of Sea of Thieves kind of getting its own battle pass and regular seasons, as opposed to like regular, like not small, but like kind of regular content updates.
It's interesting. Kind of,
Yeah.
it's and the battle passes like they're paid for, right?
I believe so. Yeah, it's called the Plunder Pass.
'Cause normally they just it's just been free content releases.
Yeah. I wonder if this is
So maybe they're
their.
just trying to monetize.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, man.
I mean, it's
The
popular enough, right?
Yep, they had 15 million people play last year. That's a huge number. That's more than World of Warcraft. Like that's like think about that. That's huge, right? Now, not all at once, but I mean, WoW only has, I shouldn't say only. They only have a million or 2 million people playing at once as well. So,
that like
um,
concurrent
yeah, like concurrent, right? Like they didn't have.
seems really low for World of Warcraft.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have 10 or 11 million subscribers. I think that was their most recent number. It probably spiked because of Shadowlands, but at any given time, WoW has a couple million people playing. Sea of Thieves all last year had 15 million overall. I'm sure maybe at its peak, maybe had over a million, but it's probably just consistently, you know, anywhere from 10 to 100,000, maybe more. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass. I don't know, but uh, there's a lot of people that play Sea of Thieves. I guess this is their play to try to monetize it. The cosmetics in Sea of Thieves are cool. So I think this is if the battle pass or the plunder pass, whatever, has a lot of cool things in it, and maybe if it's only $10, like I'm down. You know?
Yeah, I would think it'd be I would consider it too. It might make me want to play it more. Not that see these is a bad game by any stretch of the imagination, but just the fact that there's going to be also in this article it mentions regular quality of life updates, hundreds of rewards promised each season, and just these live events. Because again, even though I missed this previous Fortnite live event, I think stuff like that is pretty cool to get people to come in and get them excited for what's coming next, which naturally might bring more players. So if they boasted about having a large player base this past year, with a lot of games kind of having these events and these passes kind of bringing people back, I think that Sea of Thieves could be like, it could be it's a solid game now, but I think it could maybe reach new heights in the future if they go this way.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll have to see what happens in January when it's introduced.
Yeah.
So those are my news stories.
Cool. Harley, what do you got?
I got some COD news
Oh
for
yeah.
season 1. First of all, got moved. Was December 10th. It is now December 16th. They say it's so they can finalize things, but I think also a smart move because we all know what comes out on the 10th, Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk.
So, it's probably a smart idea to kind of stagger that. So they're saying it's their largest free content drop in Black Ops history. Gonna have just like a bunch of stuff. So we'll start off with the Battle Royale Warzone. That's gonna be getting a new map and a new mode at launch. It's also gonna have the integration of 30 Black Ops Cold War base weapons. We're also gonna be seeing a new Gulag experience. I'm not sure entails there, but it's interesting. Multiplayer updates. We got new maps, new modes, playlists, like 6v6, 2v2 gunfight. We've seen the Black Ops 2 map Raid coming back.
Ooh.
We are gonna see some new zombie modes, seasonal challenges. We're gonna see the new prestige system. Includes up to 1,000 seasonal levels. There's so much. Starting December 12th, there's going to be double weapon and normal XP. They're also going to be giving us 2 free bundles. Come with like operator skins, blueprints, reticles, weapon charms, that kind of stuff. It's kind of their like, oh sorry, we're moving. we were like delaying this, so a little something to tide you over.
Yeah, that's nice.
Mhm.
I think that's about it. I mean, there's a lot there to digest. Things seems to be getting a little bit of something.
Yeah.
I'd say the most exciting news is a new Warzone map. We've been playing on
Big
Verdansk for so long. It's gonna be nice to kind of shake things up.
Yeah, and the rumored map for it is Alcatraz from Black Ops 4. That's what everyone seems to think it's going to be. Which I'm sure you guys remember playing on Alcatraz,
Oh,
the prison island.
I remember very
It was like
fondly,
60
yeah.
people. It was like smaller, but it was, and you had like the
so
portals and
smaller.
stuff. Like, I don't know if it's going to be the exact same map or if it's going to be like a bigger version of that map, but that's what everyone's thinking it's going to be.
I've heard a title called Rebirth Island.
Yeah.
Really sure
Yep.
that's what that is.
I think-
don't
Is
know.
that okay? Now, if I might be wrong here, but isn't Rebirth Island has something to do with the first Black Ops?
It might.
I don't know.
I haven't played that game in so
I'm
long.
pretty sure there's something about Rebirth Island, and yeah. So, just looked up a thumbnail here. Do you guys remember the mission where? Spoilers for like a decade-old game, but it's the mission I believe where you find out that, they're not find out, but you play as the perspective of Mason first, and you're infiltrating this place, and you kill that doctor, and then Hudson and his team are on the other side of the glass, and then the next part of the mission is when you play, and then you realize that Reznov was never there. If you guys are remembering
Yeah,
Black Ops 1
yeah.
very well,
Sounds familiar.
that's Rebirth Island. So if that's the case,
Oh,
it would make sense to integrate something Black Ops related into Warzone instead of just having like a generic, new
yeah.
this is a new city and whatever type of deal.
Especially with the integration of Cold War weapons and stuff.
Yeah, it would make perfect sense.
So I wonder if Cold
Rebirth
War
Island
weapons
and Alcatraz.
I wonder if Cold War weapons will be in Verdansk, or if it'll only be in that on the new map.
If Alcatraz is the new Gulag experience.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Oh, interesting.
So like you die and then you drop into a second battle royale.
Oh, kind of like a mini royale type of thing.
Yeah.
Could be, because in Gulag now you wait for 1v1.
Yep.
What if you don't necessarily have to wait? You just kind of drop in thing, and maybe you just need to get a kill or something like that.
That's really cool. I wonder if that's it.
That'd be interesting.
We're gonna find out soon.
We'll find out the 16th.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be out at launch. Oh, see, that's all I got.
Cool.
Newsworthy.
So I got a couple pieces of news here, and then I'll move on to our main topic. I'm gonna go over these super quickly. So speaking of Cyberpunk 2077, it has started to preload. So depending on, I don't know if it's preloading on PlayStation yet, but I'm sure it is. It's preloading on Xbox for sure. I'm not sure if you guys have finished your downloads yet, but
Oh yeah.
mine downloaded
It was
overnight.
going really fast, actually.
Yeah, it was going really fast for me too. I checked this morning and it was going like, yeah, it was good. So,
I don't see that with any other game.
yeah.
It was so fast.
Well, yeah, especially compared to
Only,
COD.
only 60 gigs.
Yeah, that's the crazy
Well,
thing.
I did read. Actually, to kind of piggyback on your story for like 2 seconds here, I did read there's going to be like a 40 gig update day one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That makes sense.
For
So
sure.
I was
really,
gonna
it's like
think
100
60
gigs.
gigs. That's too low for what we see.
Well, how big's The Witcher 3? The Witcher 3 is a huge game on Xbox, but it'd be interesting to see how big
Witcher 3, I think, is
that is.
I think Witcher 3 is like 50 gigs.
Yeah.
I don't think the update day one's gonna add file
including
size.
all the
Well, yeah, the DLCs. Yeah,
Just the base game for Witcher 3.
I think it's about 50.
apparently it is 50. It's 50 gigabytes
Yeah.
apparently.
There you go.
Beautiful.
So yeah, I mean,
In
the day one
it's
update.
an older game too.
Yeah, the older game, older textures, right? But I think the day one update might add a bit of size to it. I don't think it's gonna add all 40 gigs to it, man. Like, updates usually overwrite. They don't add. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to become 100 gigs. Maybe with expansions it will. And I bet with the Series X/X enhancement patch that'll eventually come out next year, that'll bring it over to 100. Because then it'll download like crazy textures and all sorts of stuff. But that's only if you have that console. Either way, very exciting. The fact that it started downloading, I think, means that it's real. It's gonna happen. Up until this point, I was like, they could delay it again. Like it's downloaded on my console now, so like I don't think they can delay it again. I think it's just gonna unlock. And Harley, you said before the podcast started, if you're in our time zone, which is Eastern Standard Time here,
I think it's all North America.
All North America.
All
North America. We're gonna be able to play it early because it's a simultaneous global launch.
I should say just Americas.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Central
Americas. Yep. We're gonna get it early because it launches November 10th at midnight in a lot of places in Europe. But here, that's the previous day, like 6 hours before, right? So in some cases 8. So we're actually gonna be able to play it on December 9th instead of December 10th, which is I didn't even know that. So that was some awesome news today. I'm excited to play that a bit earlier than I thought.
Kind of rad, man.
Yeah.
December 9th.
They have asked streamers to not
get back
play
from
it
work
until December 10th.
Yes. Yeah. They said that.
That makes sense.
They don't want anything being spoiled, which I can respect that for sure. People have been waiting for this game since like 2013, 2012, like a long time. This game's been announced for a very long time. So, I'm very excited. I'm super excited to play that game.
2012.
Yeah, 2012. There you go. Like crazy, right? Crazy. And I mentioned this previously when I was talking about Master Chief in Fortnite, but Kratos is currently in Fortnite. Kratos from the God of War series, and he has a little pack, which is really funny because now we can get Kratos on Xbox, if you think about it that way. So it's kind of like it's a weird workaround way to do that, obviously. But it's not really God of War, but I mean, you can get a PlayStation character on Xbox, and when Master Chief comes out, it'll be the same. You can get Master Chief on PlayStation. So that was pretty cool.
It's like they got.
Sorry.
It's like they got a key character from Sony and a key character from like Microsoft.
I wonder if Nintendo's next.
Ooh.
Like what?
Heard
like a Zelda skin?
Some things about like Kirby.
Kirby. What? What would that look like? Maybe like on the map, Kirby could be somewhere.
I don't know.
But like, I don't know, man.
It'd be cool to have like Fox or Falco or somebody like that.
I think Link makes a lot of sense. Link
makes a lot of sense.
Or like maybe
Samus.
Oh yeah, Samus makes
Bounty
a ton
Hunter.
of sense. Bounty Hunter, yeah, Samus could definitely be in there. That would be a good skin.
Samus makes.
So I wonder if they're just doing. It seems like they're doing all the crossovers this season. They got obviously Mandalorian, and they're doing Kratos, and Master Chief's going to be coming eventually. They just did the Joker pack, so that's obviously in with DC stuff. It sounds like there could be some even more stuff planned later. Like it sounds like this season's just gonna be a big crossover. Like it's not a theme. It's just a big crossover season. If you have a character, you can put it in Fortnite. So that's exciting. I'm cool. I'm definitely down with that.
I am too, man. It's funny like seeing people say like, "Oh, Fortnite's just a big ad now," or "Fortnite's just selling out." But like, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool being able to have all these different franchises cross over into like kind of like one universal game type of thing. Even though it's not like anything to do with each other, it's just cool having all these characters. It's almost like Smash Bros in that sense, like a bunch of different properties in one game, kind of united to do the same thing. I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's the nice thing about Fortnite is that it's like a blank canvas, right? So you can kind of do whatever you want with it within the battle royale realm. So, I'm down with it, man. I'm excited to see what else comes. And then last, I just we kind of mentioned it already, and we were just talking about it. But Fortnite Season 5 started, and we had that big event with Galactus, which featured some like player interaction stuff, which was really cool. So you kind of got in, and you were actually fighting Galactus with all the Marvel characters, and there was like mini games, and you were shooting with you were driving the battle bus and like shooting things with it. And it was like a pretty simple game, right? Like you were kind of just like, it was almost like an old school like arcade game in a way, but it was still pretty cool that they had that implemented into the events. It seems like every time Fortnite does an event, they try to push the envelope a little bit more. It was a great event. I think you think the same thing, Harley, right?
Yeah, It was really great.
Yeah,
It
it was
had
cool.
like the Marvel characters kind of interacting with the player too.
Yeah,
Iron Man catches you, and you know, interact with Wolverine a little bit.
Thor was there too,
Uh,
which was funny because I was Thor as my character, and you're driving the battle bus, and then like Thor comes up to the battle bus, and I'm like, oh, it's me. Hi. But yeah. Either way, really cool event. Um, so I mean, pretty news heavy week too. We're 40 minutes in, and we're just getting to our main topic. Um, so let's get to it, guys. We're talking about building the perfect Halo, which I mean, perfect is obviously. I don't think it's an objective term. I think it's subjective. Obviously, everyone's opinion of perfect is different. So this is just our thoughts on what our hopes for Halo Infinite are and what we would like to see from kind of every game so far in the franchise make its way into Infinite. Like kind of the best ideas from everything, put it all together. You probably gathered that from the thumbnail. So let's kick it off, and we're gonna kind of do a roundtable thing. So we're gonna go through each game one by one, and we're all just gonna say stuff that we would like from the game to appear in Infinite, or thematically, or whatever it is. So let's start with Halo Combat Evolved, of course. I will mention my points here, then you guys can chime in. So I think that what Halo Combat Evolved did really, really well, obviously aside from being the thing that started it all, was the open level. So a lot of the levels in Combat Evolved were just big open levels, and sure, there was a start and a finish, but the way that you can get through the level was kind of different. There was different paths you could take. The battlefields were often just like big, like especially like the open ones, not the hallway ones, but the open ones. They were like kind of just like big battlefields, and you can run around and do whatever you want. That was part of the fun of it. And even the first mission from Halo Combat Evolved, where you kind of, or the second mission, I should say, when you come out of the ship, you crash, you land, and you kind of the pod opens up, and you open up to the ring, and you have to rescue those 3 squads of Marines. You can do it in whatever order you want, which is really, really cool. And we've kind of seen thematically on Infinite in terms of the trailers that it really does seem like it's pulling a lot of inspiration from Combat Evolved, which I think is good in that sense. So I really want that to come through. And just all the exploration and wonder and the Halo ring that comes with it. Like the best part about Halo is being on the ring, right? So obviously I think the majority, if not the entire game, is going to be on the ring. And lastly, from Combat Evolved, and this is kind of in almost every other Halo game too, but man, the Flood got to come back. The Flood got to come back. They got to be there. You know, like it just adds such a unique element to it where you're not always fighting, you know, brutes or elites or grunts. And the Prometheans were kind of like lame in my opinion from 4 and 5. Like they were just kind of robots you were fighting. They didn't really feel fun to fight. The Flood are different, man. It feels like a horror game, right? You got these gross things coming at you, and they're infecting things, and they're infecting dead bodies and taking over them, and then you kill them, and then sometimes they get back up. Like they're just fun. So I really hope the Flood comes back, and thematically, lore wise, it does make sense that there's Flood on this ring. So I hope that Flood are on the ring. What do you guys think? What do you guys want from Halo Combat Evolved?
I definitely agree with your points pretty well. You probably have everything I was gonna say, but one thing I think from Halo that would be important for Infinite, since it is going to be kind of a soft reboot of not necessarily the franchise as a whole, but just like a soft reboot into into like the next 10 years of Halo, let's say. I think the one thing from Halo Combat Evolved I would really want in Infinite is has to do with story. So obviously with Halo CE, you know, we didn't know anything about Halo yet. We didn't know anything about the Flood or the Covenant. Really, you just kind of put into this world after, you know, the events of Reach, which we found out about later. But I think with the story in Infinite, I kind of want the sense of mystery. Like, remember the first time you encounter the Flood, you don't know what's really going on. Then the first time you get on the ring, you're just kind of finding out everything, and you're just kind of going along. You know, you go into, you know, this cave isn't of natural formation, like kind of those moments where you just like, obviously it's the 6th game in the series. I don't know how much mystery you can really put into it at this point, because we're already pretty familiar with a lot of the concepts in Halo now and like story ideas and all that. But I think it'd be pretty cool to have some sort of mystery to the game in general, story wise or exploration wise, doesn't matter. Just something that you almost feel like you're constantly discovering new things about the world, as opposed to you're put in a world and you know everything or mostly everything, and then it's just kind of like a big battleground. I think it'd be pretty cool to have the element of mystery or suspense in the story.
Agreed.
Harley, what do you think?
Um, that I definitely want it to be open world. I think it is most likely going to happen because of the demo.
Yep.
We saw it's either going to be open world completely or somewhat. I don't know that yet, but I think yeah, it's going to be open world. And as far as mystery, I think that would be kind of hard. I feel like there are ways they can do that. Because there's already like we don't know a lot of stuff right now, like what happened to the Infinity, and to a lot of key characters, and maybe those kind of mysteries be like solved within the game. Playing along, you discover something like that, like oh, you see a crashed ship or something like that.
Yeah.
As far as like who the enemy are and stuff like that, I feel like that might be a bit hard to do.
Yeah, you're
There's
right.
just so many bugs in games now surrounding it.
Yeah.
It's tough, but you can still make it a mystery for new fans, I think, right? Like if somebody's never played a Halo
Yeah.
game before, you could still introduce the Flood in a way that's a surprise to them. Of course, we're gonna know what's coming, but like they don't have to know what's coming. You know, like the pilot shouldn't be in our ear being like, "Oh, Chief, the Flood are over here. Don't go there." Like it should, like it should be a surprise to them, even if we kind of know like, "Oh, I bet
Spontaneous.
the Flood are here." Like we, like the new players don't need to know that. Like let's keep it a surprise. I agree though. I think it's hard to do the mystery. I think there are definitely ways they could do mystery. Harley, I think the characters is a great idea. Like, especially if like, you start the game and you're floating in space, kind of like the first trailer, and you don't know how you got there. You could unravel the mystery of how you got there, and then to your idea, like what happened to the Infinity? Where's Cortana? What happened to Atriox, and what happened to the Spirit of Fire? Like, there's so many things they could do mystery wise that the player can discover, right? I think that's something they could definitely do. Combat Evolved is awesome. It's going to be very, very hard to capture the magic of that ever again, just because it was the first thing and it's hard to ever replicate that experience. But they could definitely, they could learn from it and do some mystery. I agree. Anything else on Combat Evolved before we moved on to Halo 2, guys?
Nope.
No, I said my piece.
Cool. All right, so let's move on to Halo 2. I'm gonna go first on this one, just because Halo 2 is my favorite, and then I'll let you guys go first on some of the next ones. But I think an easy one, and I think one that would be definitely some fan service. Like it's not mechanically the greatest thing, but like dual wielding is awesome, just from like oh, this is sweet kind of like moment where you can like dual wield pistols, you can dual wield plasma pistols, you can dual wield needlers. Like the ability to just do that, even though it's not always useful, it's just really cool. And like imagine if they let you like dual wield like energy swords in this game or something. Like that would be really cool.
Ooh.
Right? Like I think there's some cool things they can do with dual wielding that would really just be like a great kind of like fan service kind of thing that could really just get the community hyped up again. Like I don't think anyone would complain if dual wielding came back. Like no one would be like, oh great, dual wielding's back. Like everyone would be kind of excited for it. So I think that's an easy one for them to do. Hopefully they do it. And then as well from Halo 2, I mean, a lot of the best multiplayer maps in Halo's history came from Halo 2. So we're talking Lockout, Zanzibar, Midship, Ivory Tower, Warlock, Sanctuary, Beaver Creek. The list goes on, right? Like a lot of the best maps in Halo's history started from Halo 2, and they've been remade or reimagined from there. But it all started with Halo 2 and their great map design, which is why the multiplayer was so popular, man. Like there was just so many awesome maps, legendary maps, right? Like to this day, like Lockout is one of the best maps ever made, period, in any game. So for me, and this is something where, I mean, Halo 3 did a good job, but other Halos since then have really not made that many memorable multiplayer maps. Like I find it very hard to name them, where I just named off a bunch, right? And of course I have them in my notes here, but when I was making my notes, I didn't even have to look them up. Like I just knew. So for me, the maps in Halo 2 for multiplayer are just so great from an arena perspective. I hope that comes back. What do you guys think for Halo 2?
You want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
No, I'll agree. Dual wielding, come back. Nothing feels better than picking up two SMGs and just like
Spray
spraying
and pray,
down
man.
some grunt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I like that idea. Dual swords, it'd be sweet.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I had for Halo 2.
What do you got, Jim?
Jim, go.
So I definitely agree with the dual wielding thing. I can't even remember. Was Halo 3 the last game we could dual wield in?
I forget if you could in Reach. I don't think you could.
I think you could.
Yeah, actually I think you could too.
Okay, so maybe
And
Reach
I'm
was the
thinking,
last one.
well, if we're wrong,
Reach?
Yeah, let us know if we're wrong.
But
Yeah.
it's been about a decade either way since we've been able to dual wield a gun in Halo, which is kind of crazy to think because that was such a big hubbub when Halo 2 first came out. Um, and other than the dual wielding, one thing I kind of miss, Halo 5 tried this, and Halo 4 definitely tried it as well. But I think we need to have like more memorable boss battles again because fighting the Prophet and fighting Tartarus
Yep.
in
Oh
this game,
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
those two boss fights, I always go back to, and it's nothing more than just bullet sponges, and then especially with the Prophet going up to him and like punching him. But I remember those more fondly than I remember fighting. Is it the Didac in Halo 4?
Yep.
Just like the
Yeah, the quick
mostly,
time.
especially at the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah, quick time events are like one of the worst things, if you ask me, you can put in any game. But regardless, um, just I think it'd be cool to have, and I think we will because I can't remember the villain's name in Halo Infinite that was in the trailer, but I'm
It's
pretty sure there's gonna be some.
Ishiram.
Thank you very much. I think there'll be a boss battle there for sure, but I think because it's gonna be like a wide, expansive campaign. Hopefully, I think we should have some more mini, almost like mini boss fights in there too. Obviously, have your big ones, but have lots of little ones too. Like I think back, and I'm jumping ahead here a bit, but in Halo 3, in oh, I can't remember the mission, but where you find a group of brutes, but then you just fight the chieftain, and they're all standing around you, just waiting to see who wins. Like
Yeah,
stuff
on
like
the
that
Ark.
would be pretty cool to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Um, but the one thing as well in Halo 2 that I think would be pretty cool to have is sort of like an underlying presence, like Gravemind was in Halo 2. Having a presence like that on top of the main villain or underneath the main villain, whether it's an influencer or not, I think it'd be pretty cool because, I mean, it would also mean not Gravemind specifically, but it would also mean there'd be some sort of, you know, unearthly creature that isn't Covenant, that isn't human, that isn't brute, um, in there, and some which kind of piggybacks on my Halo CE point of a mystery. So I think it'd be kind of cool to have this kind of ominous presence. Maybe not necessarily someone like Gravemind, but just a presence like that underneath everything, that has a big effect on the game. Because in Halo 2, that kind of sets you in motion to going and looking in two different spots and blah, blah, blah. Stuff like that. You know better than I would, Tony. I haven't played Halo 2 in a while, but something like that would be pretty cool to have in Infinite as well.
Yeah.
And I do agree with the multiplayer maps. Multiplayer maps, and this I'm piggybacking on a further point in a future game, but multiplayer maps, strong ones, would be really key to have.
Yep. And a lot of the best ones in multiplayer history, not even just Halo history, multiplayer history, come from Halo 2. So I think a nice dedication to really, really good maps again is important. And not to say that developers weren't trying in future games, but I mean, Halo 2 was the pinnacle. It was the peak. That's it from Halo 2. One thing that I would like to see, but we know it isn't going to happen, is the dual perspective thing from like Arbiter / Chief, and they tried that with 5 and failed horribly. But with I actually really liked playing as the Arbiter in Halo 2 and like running around with your Covenant. Like that was really cool, and just kind of learning the whole Covenant like hierarchy and unraveling the mystery of, wait, like the Covenant are really screwed up. Like, why are we doing this? We need to rebel, kind of thing, and eventually siding with Chief in the UNSC. That was really cool. Obviously, they can't do. They said they weren't going to do that. They said the game is Chief centric. It's all about Chief, so it's not going to be anything like that. I think that'd be cool for a future game, though. Just not Spartan Lock, please. But moving on. Halo 3, Jim. I know this is your bread and butter, so I'm gonna let you go, man. What do you think?
If you copy and paste everything from Halo 3, I think I'd be happy. But I could say the large variety of guns, because not only do you have human and Covenant weaponry. You also had brute weaponry and vehicles introduced too. So I think it'd be nice to have a large variety of weapons, and even like let's say they don't bring back, kind of like with Smash Bros Ultimate, they brought back like every character from history. You don't have to bring back every weapon from Halo history into Infinite just to have the variety, but as long as the variety is strong and memorable. Like I enjoy using pretty much every gun in Halo 3. I can't say that for Halo 2. I can't say that for even CE to a certain extent, and even future games especially. So I think a pretty strong weapon variety would be pretty cool, because in Halo 2 they took away the assault rifle and put in the battle rifle, and then Halo 3 they brought it back, and they're both, I mean, I think they're both great, but that's just because I'm kind of biased towards this game. But you know what? Even skipping the campaign perspective, because I like the story, it's a great conclusion. I like where everything goes in the game pretty much. But one thing I think that was really strong in Halo 3 was the matchmaking system. And I think that Halo Infinite, the one thing they could pull from Halo 3, that I think was maybe lacking in 5, and I can't even remember what the base 4 matchmaking was, but I think Halo Infinite would be great if it had a really simple but easy to follow, or like matchmaking system, and have map voting. That's the biggest thing I really miss in Halo is map voting. They really need to bring that back.
That's such a simple one, man. Just like map voting. It's to me it's even useful feedback, cuz like if people are consistently voting against a map, then the map is bad. And that's good information to know as a developer. Like, hey, nobody likes playing this map. Okay, so maybe we should make a map that isn't like that, or we'll take it out of the rotation, or whatever it is. But yeah, map voting is that's clutch, man, for sure. That's such an easy thing to do in my opinion as well. Like that's just like it's a no-brainer. Harley, what do you think? Halo 3.
It's kind of the same thing with Halo 2, but I'd like to see most of these previous Halos is the flood.
Yeah.
See more flood.
If you can't tell, everyone watching, we
I
all
missed
love the
it
flood
too.
here. We missed the flood. We want to see them again. They're way more interesting than the Forerunners. I'm sorry.
I'm just getting sick of
Yeah.
I'm getting sick of fighting Prometheans. I really am. But we'll get
Too.
to that when we get to 4.
Yeah. Is that all you got for 3, Harley? You got anything else?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Cool. For 3,
What
I
do you
agree
think?
with all the points made. I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of what I said in 2, but in a different way. I think Halo 3 has some of the best big team maps of all time. When you're
Absolutely.
talking, Valhalla, which is obviously just like a kind of a reimagining of Blood Gulch, but I mean Valhalla is amazing. Avalanche is awesome. Last Resort, I mean obviously that came from Halo 2 as well. Rat's Nest, Sand Trap, Standoff, like these are like amazing big team maps that they were all unique and all they're always fun to play, like no matter what. Halo 3 I think has the strongest big team multiplayer in the series. And I think that's something important that 343 has hopefully learned with the mistake they made with 5 and not really having any big team maps made from the ground up. They were all just Forge maps, right? That's all big team was in 5. It was just Forge maps, which, I mean, some of them are good, mind you, but man, give us like some quality, developer
Warzone.
made. Yeah, Warzone is the only thing in 5, but that was a different mode. I'm talking big team, 16 versus 16.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Specific.
Yeah, exactly. Um, I think that 3 did an incredible job with that, and a commitment to big team again, I think would be a big win for the series. But I agree with everything that you guys have said so far on 3 too. 3 is probably the best, most well-rounded Halo. I would say everything is just great. It's hard to really pick at 3 for anything. Let's move on to ODST, which I think we're all going to say the same thing here.
Yeah, just
Firefight.
about.
Firefight. Bring back
I have a twist on
Firefight.
that, but yeah, I do agree.
I'm talking ODST style Firefight, not Reach style Firefight. Reach Firefight was fine, but ODST Firefight that's creme de la creme, man. That's the stuff right there.
More survival based than Halo 4 is more kind of arcadey feel.
Yeah, I almost feel like in Reach you're almost just trying to get a high score, which obviously you're trying to do in ODST as well,
Exactly.
but like it's way scarier in ODST. Like you're
Mm.
you're just getting overrun the entire time. So that, yeah.
Especially since you're not smart, you don't really have like armor abilities. You're just kind of going based off of your own skill as opposed to, oh, I have dodge, or oh, I have jetpack, or I have decoy, or I have this and that. Like, it's nice to just be able, not to sound like, Call of Duty, but it's like boots on the ground kind of combat,
Yeah,
but in Halo.
you just feel like a marine trying to survive, and like
Mm.
that's the cool thing about those kind of survival modes. So I agree. That's my only point for ODST, man. I think that, I guess as well, the campaign in ODST was really cool because there was a lot of mystery. So I think that's another kind of mystery aspect, and it was also the first Halo to be kind of semi-open world with that map, the hub world, anyways.
Yeah.
So like exploring the city was really cool. So I mean, hopefully Infinite's kind of the same way, where it's just kind of fun to go around the ring. I'm sure it will be. But Firefight's the big one. Bring back traditional Firefight. Even if you're not a Spartan and you're an ODST in Infinite, I think that's perfectly fine.
I think that would be more beneficial as opposed to playing us like kind of like in Reach, like Harley was saying, like something just got kind of lost in Reach. Like it was cool to have a bigger variety of game modes in Reach. Like you could do Grand Apocalypse, you could do just rockets, like you could customize it fully. But something kind of gets lost when you take away handicaps. And with Halo Infinite in general, the point I'm going to make here is, yes, Firefight, like absolutely bring that back. But if you're not going to do Firefight, have some kind of squad-based game mode. Whether or not it's Battle Royale is totally subjective. It's just Halo 5's campaign squad-based, to jump a bit ahead here. Whether or not that's good or bad, whatever. But to have like a multiplayer mode that's kind of dedicated to the idea of working in a squad, like I said, whether or not it's Battle Royale, you kind of have to work together with that. I think that would be pretty cool to kind of introduce into Halo. At least introduce with maybe some like fresh idea into it. But just anything where, because like we play a lot of, like, even this like basing off our gaming experience, we play a lot of Ghost Recon. We play a lot of like 4-player co-op games with Feature X special guest Kevin. So it'd be kind of cool to have another mode that we could. Now Spartan Ops going to Halo 4, that's its own thing. We'll get into that, but just something that's dedicated to like squad-based gameplay, I think would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like Firefight, I guess, but it's just something in general that's Firefight. Just bring back Firefight, please.
But other than just multiplayer.
Yeah, like something that's kind of
PvE,
like separate from it. No, it's not just like, oh, here's like a deathmatch mode, but it's disguised as this other mode. Like have something unique that's separate from the multiplayer. That's like squad-based co-op type of thing.
I think you said it perfectly, Harley. PvE. Just having like a good PvE mode. If that's Firefight, great. But if you can figure out something that's more like squad-based and it's maybe more like mission centric and it's it's good, then that's cool too. But something that's PvE is nice in a lot of games. I think it should not always be against another human. That's all I got for ODST. We all good on ODST, guys? Anything else?
I think I'm good.
Cool. Let's move on.
The night vision was pretty cool in ODST. Actually, it's better than Halo Reach's night vision.
Sure, yeah, night vision. If like, especially if the ring does have a day-night cycle.
Mission?
Yeah, like the ring has a day-night cycle. That's confirmed. So maybe maybe like a night mission, or not a night mission, but like a night mode where Chief can turn on night vision on his visor, and that's how you kind of traverse at night. That'd be cool.
Like night raids or something.
Yeah.
Sabotage.
Yep. That'd be cool.
Go into a little bit into like Splinter Cell almost.
Well, and that would make a lot of sense with Halo too, because like you have those night missions that have the kind of the base for that, but like there's maybe you go into a banished kind of like outpost and all the grunts are sleeping, and you have a jackal or two on kind of watch, and you have to take them out silently, and then that'd be cool. I think we might be on something there. Hopefully they do that.
Please listen, 343. Please listen.
Listen to Follow My Tracers. Let's move on to Halo Wars, the first. And I think that there's a lot of overlap with Halo Wars 2 here. So if you guys want to save it for Halo Wars 2, that's
like Halo Wars and
let's just do Halo Wars 2 and Halo Wars in general then. Let's just do that.
Halo Wars.
Yeah, Halo Wars and Halo Wars 2. So Harley, I'll let you go first on this one. You're a big Halo Wars guy.
Love Halo Wars. I think it might be tough to integrate some of the things from that. Something that comes to mind though is Halo Wars had leader powers. AB and Infinite, you can call in, like, depending on how the story goes, maybe later on you can call in support. like maybe you're said like a banished outpost. You can either go at stealth, or maybe you can call in like a pelican to drop in some marines or something like that. You can call in like artillery or something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be super cool.
Yeah, to make you feel like you're not so alone. You got some
Yeah.
support.
Yeah, maybe like later in the story.
It could even be that pilot. Yeah,
Yeah,
it could
you
be
know.
that pilot and a pelican. Just, shooting, just like strafing run or something.
Yeah, or like the more Marines you save on the ring gives you more reinforcements, kind of thing, right? And then you can like the pilot can drop
It,
off the Marines wherever you kind of want them to be. Oh, and then the Marines can have like
thing with Halo
progression. They can
Wars.
have ranks, and oh man, that'd be so cool. Okay, I'm sorry.
You
Go
could
ahead.
you could maybe start like a home base
Yeah.
that happens, kind of like a Ghost Recon Wildlands, like the Division, where it's like you have like a little home base that you can like maybe like upgrade. Halo Wars like have your main base where you build like a barracks and supply depot and such and such. Maybe it has a more simplified version of that. Or you say, yeah, like you said, you save some Marines. They come back to home base. Maybe they do like you can do like training missions and stuff like that. It could be like Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, where you could send them off on missions.
Yep.
You could send squads to do like reconnaissance and stuff like that.
I was just thinking Metal Gear, kind of the same idea with the newest Metal Gear games,
Oh
Peace
yeah.
Walker and obviously 5 as well. Um,
Mm.
Phantom Pain. You can kind of like on your mother base, like you kind of capture enemy soldiers, and they become, obviously it wouldn't be enemy soldiers in this case, but like, and they become your fighters, and you can send them off on missions, and they can rank up, and you can bring them on missions with you sometimes. Like that makes, and like that's basically Assassin's Creed Brotherhood too, right? You recruit your assassins and you like level them up and do stuff like that's just really cool. I think that'd be awesome.
Really cool.
Super
And
cool.
it lends into that open worldness too.
Yep. And that's
Fast
kind
travel
of
point.
that's kind of like a stretch from Halo Wars, I guess. But I mean, it is strategy in a sense still.
Hard. It's hard to pair like a real time strategy game and a shooter.
Yeah, I think that with Halo Wars, I think what they could do is bring a lot of the unique vehicles and like units in. And we've talked about this
Oh
before,
yeah.
right? Like have a Condor in there, have a Grizzly on the map somewhere that you can get. Maybe the Banished have things
In the
like
demo,
yeah, there was they said downed.
he mentions a
Yeah.
downed condor.
He does, yeah. So maybe that's already kind of in there, which is awesome. But like maybe you're traversing the ring and all of a sudden a grunt goblin squad drops down on you. Like
Oh,
that'd be
yeah.
kind of cool, right? And that's from 5 too, but also
Oh,
in Halo
yeah.
Wars 2, locusts,
Enemies have leader
reavers. Yeah, leader powers. Yep.
Oh, your enemy has leader powers too.
Yep.
Kind of cool.
I think that'd be
Or
cool.
I guess another thing from Halo Wars, not like gameplay wise, but more story wise, is some of the characters.
Yeah.
Like I really enjoyed Halo Wars story, so I'd like to see a return of those characters.
I think it'd be really cool,
Maybe
especially
like
since
the
the
Spirit of
Banished.
Fire.
Yeah, especially since the Banished like came from Halo Wars 2. Like that was their origin.
Yeah.
Like if that'd be really cool if Chief was like, and we've talked about this off stream too, but like maybe you're getting overrun and you don't know what's happening and you think you're gonna die, and the pilot's like, this is it, it's done, there's no reinforcements coming, and then all of a sudden the Spirit of Fire pops out of nowhere and freaking Omega
Oh.
team drops down on you, and like, man, could
Bro.
you imagine? Like, oh, that'd be so hype.
That'd be sweet.
That'd be so cool, because like you're right, the Halo Wars
Over the
story
radio?
is super underrated. Yeah, like I think there's a lot of cool characters and stuff that they could bring over. Hopefully the fact that they're using the Banished is a good sign that they're taking a lot of the elements from Halo Wars 2.
Atriox comes from Halo Wars 2.
Yes. And we know that he
So-
escapes the Ark. We know that, but we don't know
Don't know what happened.
what happens after that. And all we know is that Escharum, I think I'm saying is right, Escharum, I forget. In the Infinite trailer, he mentions Atriox's will, the will of Atriox. So we know that he's obviously a part of the lore. We don't know if he's dead or if he's alive. Maybe Escherum's kind of in charge of the operations there, and Atriox is doing other stuff. Maybe Atriox
He's dead?
comes in at some point. Maybe he's dead. Like, we don't know.
Ooh.
So, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities there. Yeah.
Infinite and Halo Wars 2 seems really like closely connected.
Yep.
Story wise.
Story wise, it's absolutely connected. It's just how deep are they going to go with that connection, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, Jim, I know you haven't played much of Halo Wars 2 yet, but I know you did play a lot of 1 with us. So, anything from that we've mentioned or that we haven't mentioned that you want to talk about?
Yeah, you guys mentioned, I think Harley specifically before, being able to build a home base. I think that'd be, considering, from my best guess, and I think like Halo, and now you know better than me, Tony. Halo Infinite's pretty much open world, right?
It hasn't been confirmed that it's fully open world, but it is. It has open world concepts to it. Yeah, you can kind of go anywhere and do anything.
So kind of like in the Fallout series, specifically, I'll say Fallout 4 because that's the one that comes to mind. Just being able to build, bases or even like a settlement or something. If you find like a group of Marines, let's say on the ring, you can kind of build a home base around that, and maybe purchase upgrades for certain stuff. You can upgrade your grappling hook, upgrade your weapons, whatever. Which might be going a bit too out of the wheelhouse for Halo, but I think that'd be pretty cool just to be able to have a base you can settle at, and you also mentioned like a large variety of vehicles and enemy types. I think that would be pretty beneficial because if we get, and I love Halo, don't get me wrong, but if I get another game of, and I'm jumping ahead here, if I get another game of mostly Prometheans or any more Warden Eternals or anything like that where I'm sick of fighting the same things over and over again, I think a large variety of enemies could really, and vehicles too, would really benefit, especially a game of this scale. I think it's entirely possible that they're going to have a good variety. So, yeah, you guys have pretty much touched everything I was going to say.
Here's a stretch. What if we see, this is a real stretch. We have the UNSC with Chief.
Yeah.
Maybe some surviving Covenant allies.
Oh, like the Arbiters.
The Banished. We have the the Arbiters crew.
Swords of St.
We have the Banished. Yeah, we have the Banished, the Flood, and Prometheans.
I think
have like a big mixing pot.
Yeah, like I think the Prometheans are good in small doses.
Like, bring back the Heretics too. Bring back everybody.
Like everyone's on this ring.
Yeah, everyone's. Well,
but,
yeah.
Like, everybody's here. I bet Prometheans are gonna be back because we need to learn more about like Cortana did.
Yeah, maybe not. 5. Maybe not though. Maybe they just completely write it off and they're like, yeah, between 5 and 6, it's not a thing anymore. Maybe they somehow write it off, which I wouldn't be mad about either because I don't really care about them too much. But I think there's still a way for them to be used well. I think you touched on a good point there. If they had them, but alongside all of this other stuff as well, where they weren't the main thing you were fighting all the time, but every now and then you come across like a squad of knights or something, like that'd be kind of cool. I'd be okay with that.
One thing, well, I guess I shouldn't mention it we'll save it for Halo 5.
Yeah.
I'll save it for Halo 5.
Okay.
I'll wait.
Okay. So we've talked a lot about Wars now. If you haven't noticed, we're big fans of the Halo Wars series. They're definitely underrated, in my opinion. So if you just want to know the story, like if you don't care about the gameplay too much, like throw it on easy, play through the story, or even if you know what, if you don't even want to do that, like go on YouTube and watch the cutscenes.
YouTube.
Because the cutscenes in this game, on both of these games, are gorgeous, man.
Amazing cutscenes.
Incredible cutscenes made by Blur.
Too.
Yeah. So good. So you can get pretty much everything you need from those cutscenes too. So I mean,
the Flood DLC.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's another thing. Yeah, you're right. There was Flood DLC in Halo Wars 2. So I mean, they're around because Halo Wars 2 takes place after Halo 5. So it's not like the Flood are gone. They're around. So
still around.
Maybe that's a good sign. They're kicking around. Yeah. Okay, so let's get to Halo Reach now. So Reach is an interesting one for me. I definitely have a lot of fond memories of Reach, but I don't know if there's too much I would actually bring from Reach into Infinite, in my opinion, other than maybe Invasion, the multiplayer mode, which I think I always thought was really cool. And I think that maybe that could be done pretty well from a Banished versus UNSC kind of perspective. Or maybe you play as brutes or something would be really cool. You know what I mean? Like that with like a completely different kind of gameplay set where you're more like close combat and you're more like in their face and stuff like that. That'd be kind of cool. I think maybe Invasion could be done well. Yeah, exactly. exactly. That'd be the only thing I'd really bring from Reach. I'm not saying Reach is bad at all. I just think that a lot of other Halo games kind of do aspects that Reach did better. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think I agree too. I think Invasion would be a pretty cool mode, especially if you changed up. Because I think the way the Covenant Elites played when you played Invasion, they're not like crazy different from the Marines. You just get the roll ability and you're a little faster. So if you had Invasion, but you made the UNSC from the Covenant, from the Brutes, from the Banished, from the Flood, even the Flood, let's say, like you make them
Ooh.
all pretty different gameplay wise. I think that'd be pretty cool because then you're not feeling like you're playing the same game. Kind of like with Doom Eternal, they have their battle mode. You're playing as a Doomslayer or you're playing as like any hell creature. It feels different enough. So if you kind of integrate something like that into it, I think it'd be pretty cool. Um, Other than that, honestly, my only note for Reach, just because Reach is kind of a combination of everything great about Halo up to that point. Let's say, it's just kind of like Bungie's big farewell to at least the Halo series. So um, the one thing I think would be pretty cool because you already get the grappling hook in Infinite, but I think it'd be cool to have some armor abilities too. I've enjoyed the armor abilities, but if you had more and had a greater variety, especially if you have like Covenant centric ones or like brute centric abilities, I think stuff like that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Harley, what about you?
I liked Halo Reach's story. I liked the idea of being part of a team of Spartans. Getting to see kind of the interactions between all the members. Really enjoyed that. Could be integrated into Infinity. Maybe like if maybe Jerome does come up, maybe you can, a home base kind of thing. You can list maybe some Spartans to come with you. Depends.
Yeah.
I really liked that idea of like being part of a team, kind of going through it together. Emotional scenes where like they start dying off and stuff like that. It just adds a lot more to the story, makes it more rich.
Yeah.
It gives it depth as opposed to just being like
Yeah.
kind of like a one-dimensional, military shooter type of thing.
I think everyone remembers the
Character
legendary
development.
the cat scene where she just gets sniped out of nowhere.
Oh,
Like that
Yeah.
was
Like,
such like a
how unexpected moments like that.
yeah, exactly. Just like everyone it was just kind of just going through and you're doing this thing and all of a sudden sniped dead. And it's just like, "Oh, okay, shit." Like I guess she's dead now. That was
You know what that
that was
does
cool.
actually? That really makes the characters feel human, and I think that's one of the thing I just thought of now that would be pretty nice to have in Infinite is you don't want to go and jumping ahead. You don't want to kind of go maybe too far with it with Halo 4, but have it grounded enough where the characters feel like they have real emotions and they have like a real connection to each other so that if one of them, goes off or dies or whatever, you feel something as opposed to, this NPC died and then the story
Marine
goes on.
22.
Yeah, like have it have impact. Have your characters and their actions have kind of impacts on. It'd be hard to do it with the gameplay, but on the story itself, stuff like that, it'd be pretty cool. And I think Halo Reach did that well enough.
Halo Reach is awesome. I agree. It's a really good game. One of my favorite campaigns for sure.
Might be my favorite campaign.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Than Halo Wars.
It was really cool knowing the end from the start. I think that's really underrated. Where like you start the game and from the lore perspective that Reach, everyone dies. So like you're kind of just wondering as you're playing through the game, like, okay, are we gonna die? Are we gonna get off safely, or is this whole squad gonna die? And then one by one, your whole squad starts to die, and it's kind of like a oh shit, kind of like you knew it was gonna come, but it still kind of hits you moment. It was cool.
Yeah.
I think it was done really well.
Also, a point where it's like, you are a Spartan. You are very tough and strong, but you're not invincible.
Yeah, you're
Spartans can be killed.
Yeah.
see that with Cat being killed just like that, and I think that's important because it, Jim said, it adds kind of an emotional depth to it.
Yeah.
You know, whereas I think in other games you don't get that sense. Like you're a Master Chief, you can't be stopped. You can do anything. I don't know. It kind of breaks some of the points for me. Um, 5, you know, you got the 2 squads of Spartans. Nothing really happens to them. I don't I don't really remember them die or anything like that.
Yeah, the squads in 5 are
Maybe if I'm
pretty
wrong.
inconsequential for sure. They don't really.
Like
Yeah.
run and gun.
Yeah.
I like that. I'd like to see some more emotional depth to the game.
Yeah, so maybe that's something good from Reach they could bring in. But don't go too far like 4, which we're going to get into right now. So Halo 4. I personally really liked the campaign in Halo 4 and the story. I think it was done pretty well, just in terms of everything that happened with Cortana going rampant and Chief trying to save her, and like that's kind of the first human side you ever really see of Chief, where he's like the only person, or whatever AI or whatever, the only other thing that's ever been right beside me and understood me is this AI, and I can't save her, kind of thing. Like Chief can save everything but her, right? That was kind of the whole point of the game. Of course, with all the Promethean and Didact stuff, which I don't really care about, but the interaction between Chief and Cortana was really done really well. So, but that all aside, I think that Spartan Ops was a big missed opportunity. And we talked about this briefly with kind of just like having, extra kind of co-op missions to do other than maybe a battle royale or whatever. Spartan Ops in Halo 4 was kind of lame. You did the same few maps every chapter. I forget what it was. Every chapter, every mission. They kind of just rotated maps and objectives, and there was a story to it, but it's kind of hard to follow and didn't really mean anything in the end. So I think that having kind of like an episodic or like a mission based kind of expansion to Infinite, where like, and if they've mentioned Infinite being like a 10-year game too, which we'll see if that happens, but a good way to maybe expand that is having these campaign expansions where they're almost like Spartan Ops missions, but done a lot better, where they're taking place on the ring and they kind of progress the story. I think that could be cool from 4. What do you guys think?
I agree. I definitely want some like spec. Yeah, I agree. The spec up idea is really cool. It just kind of missed the mark on it.
Yeah.
These were like really cool, but like the story was kind of yeah. I feel like Infinity they could do that. Could have like side stories. Maybe you learn more about a character or an event or something like that
Mm-hmm.
through that Spec Ops like play or story. I think that'd be kind of cool. Like they could have your like main story with Chief. You could also have like little side things. Oh, Chief finds out what happened to the downed Condor or something like that. Like maybe it starts off with you finding like an audio log, and then you kind of like through like that story.
Jim, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I agree too. Um, truth be told, I couldn't really think of anything like too specific that I'd pull from Halo 4. But the one thing that, um, because Halo Infinite's supposed to be, or it's said to be like kind of like a soft reboot of the series as a whole, let's say. Um, I think if the one thing they could learn from Halo 4 gameplay wise is, I kind of like the gunplay in Halo 4. You know how things feel when you shoot. Um, all the guns feel pretty nice for the most part. But like the actual shooting, it's kind of Halo 5 feels a lot different to Halo 4. Whereas Halo 4, for me, it feels kind of like Halo 3, it feels kind of like the previous ones, but it also feels like it kind of like it's like going from 3 to Reach. Like the gunplay feels different significantly, whereas I think Halo 4 is kind of like the main, like I said, the guns are they all feel nice enough, and I feel like I'm losing my point as I'm saying it, but just the actual like shooting in the game is satisfying, and it's kind of like a mix of old and new in a sense, where it doesn't like there's no advanced movement yet. There's no um nothing too crazy happening. Like, yeah, you can sprint and the movement's nice and whatever, but that would be the only thing I could really pull from Halo 4. Um, Truth be told, like I didn't. That's the only thing I can really think of, to be honest. Like story wise, we kind of touched on it. You guys have kind of touched on any other point I might have made. So, yeah, just like have the gunplay feel like old is new type of thing. That's the one thing I think I would pull.
Play is important.
Yeah, and like it has to be. I don't want it to feel too different, but have it kind of be a good mix of the old and then whatever they choose to introduce to integrate that into the gameplay. Something like that.
I believe it's a whole new engine, is it not, Tony?
Yep.
You know, I think more about it.
Yep. Slipspace engine, brand new. It's the first time that Halo isn't using the same engine as Halo 3 in some way, shape, or form. Or I shouldn't say Halo 3, but like, yeah, because they've always used, and you'll see it on most of the games, the Havoc engine. Like that's you'll see you'll see that pop up whenever you launch Halo on most of the games, and they've been kind of just modifying and adapting that for a long time. And they have other engines and stuff that they've used in game, but this is a brand new, built from the ground up thing, not a we took this engine and made it our own kind of thing, if you know what I mean. So, it's gonna feel different just because of that. But how close they can make it feel like the Halos we kind of remember and like playing, yeah, it remains to be seen. That's it from Halo 4 though. I mean, Halo 4 is weird because like there are parts of it I really like, and then other parts I just like the multiplayer I couldn't give two shits about. Like I just
feelings.
Yeah, like do not care. But there are other things I really like about Halo 4. But let's move on to Halo 5, which we're seeing on screen. You're seeing me struggle to win this game, which obviously this is a recreation on Forge of a Halo 2 map, so back to that again. But yeah, Halo 5 is interesting, guys. I'm gonna let one of you guys go first for Halo 5. Harley, maybe if you want to go first.
Sure. We'll go to. We've been talking a lot about like the main story and kind of campaign of Infinite. I think for multiplayer, I enjoyed the Warzone mode. Enjoyed kind of that battlefront, large like 30 versus 30 or 20 versus 20 player combat. It's just a mess and it's just like chaos. Really enjoyed the attack and defend mode. Teams attacking, one team's defending. I'd like to see something like that in Infinity. Something bigger than big team. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, Warzone is cool.
Yeah, I think Warzone might be like my favorite thing about the multiplayer in Halo 5, to be honest. Like the normal multiplayer is fine, whatever. It's what you'd expect it to be for the most part, but Warzone definitely, because like Halo's always been a game I think that strives when it comes to like big team stuff. Like the big team in Halo 3, like you were saying way back, Tony, was like great, possibly the best in the series in general. And I think every time I play Halo, I tend to lean more towards the big team modes. So to have a game mode in 5 that's like dedicated to like almost like super big team is like super interesting. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. Just in general, I think having a really big dedicated mode like that, especially since the concept of the campaign is going to have like a mostly open world, let's say, I think something like that could really benefit multiplayer wise too. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
One thing though, I will say, and I'm similar. This is how I feel about COD too. One thing I liked in Halo 5 was the actual movement. So I know I said the gunplay in Halo 4 was pretty strong, and just the way everything feels when you shoot. But I think in Halo 5, the actual movement feels like the advanced movement stuff, like being able to climb up ledges, being able to boost, sprinting, the ground pound, whatever. But when you're sprinting and melee, you do that dash melee attack. I think that's the one thing I would pull from Halo 5 to put into Infinite is just some more of that. Don't go overboard, granted, because you can get overboard to a point, but have enough of that advanced movement stuff where, you know, like the grappling hook helps a whole lot. I think it's a great addition to have in Halo, especially with a world that's, you know, it's probably going to benefit from it, you know, being so big. So stuff like that I think would really benefit. But I will say, they really got to have strong marketing, because I think with Halo 5 they totally dropped the ball with the marketing. Like whether or not, like I think we discussed this in a previous episode, but whether or not there's a big rewrite, which there was, and maybe the old marketing kind of, you know, portrayed that old stuff, and maybe they were so far along, it's like, well, we'll just put this out. It's close enough to what we're gonna do, so let's just have this out. I think Halo Infinite's marketing has got to be super strong from here on out, because I don't want to have another situation where, like with Halo 5, when I got it, when I finished the game, one of my first thoughts was, what did the marketing have to do with that at all? So I just want great marketing. Let's say that and advanced movement from Halo 5. Although Halo 5 didn't have great marketing. Whatever. I'm gonna babble, so I'm gonna stop talking.
The marketing in 5 was interesting because I thought it was really good. It just had nothing to do with the game. Like the marketing got me excited. The whole idea of like Locke, like especially I vividly remember the shot where like Chief is like injured, like kind of laying against a statue, and Locke's pointing a pistol at him, and then they flip the scene and it's the other way around, and Locke's laying there and Chief is pointing the pistol at him, and like it's just like, oh shit, like what's happening?
It was a weird scene.
And then like
that stuff's amazing.
It was just really cool.
Standing by doing nothing. The actual game.
Yeah, like it just like it was.
Marketing is epic.
It was really good.
You only interact once.
Well, yeah, they have that stupid fist fight.
Once.
They have that really dumb fist fight, and that's the end of it. And it was like all the other Spartans are just like standing around watching. And it's like, okay, well, if this was actually happening, all the other Spartans would probably jump in and try to like give an advantage to one side or the other.
You can at least have them do like.
Yeah,
even they could interact with each other.
Right? Like it was just kind of weird. They were just like watching them like slap each other, and I was like, oh, okay. But and like
you get if it's like a, you know, like a 1v1 kind of like honorable fight kind of thing. I could see that, but you don't really get that feeling.
No, and like the fact was, the story of that game so far was that Chief was to be brought in. So why weren't they helping him?
No matter what, they were supposed to bring him in, and they say in the campaign like live or preferably alive or something like that.
Yeah,
almost kind of hinting that they may have to like badly injure him.
Yeah, or
something like that.
Yeah, try not to like. Yeah, I forgot the exact word, but the idea was like try not to kill him, but like they didn't explicitly say like don't kill him, kind of thing.
Something like that.
I think Halsey didn't want him to die, but they were kind of like, well, we'll see. And like the Hunt the Truth podcast. I don't know if you guys remember that, but there was a podcast before Halo 5 came out, and it was called Hunt the Truth, and it was like a 10-part kind of mini series, and it was kind of exploring the idea of Chief kind of being this hero, but like kind of undercovering like all the shit that he's done, and like how he's not really a hero and like that kind of stuff. So like that was really cool too. But again, it just had nothing to do with the game. So I agree. The marketing actually needs to be the game. That's important. But also, I mean, if Halo 5 was good, I don't think we'd complain, even if the marketing had nothing to do with it. There was just issues with the campaign and overall in the story. I agree, man. I think the advanced movement in Halo 5 has a place in Halo. I know there's a big debate online and the big split in the Halo community whether there should be sprint or no sprints, or advanced movement versus no advanced movement. The fact is, Halo does feel slow. Older Halos, and that's fine because they're a product of their time, and that's the way they're supposed to feel, and it's great. But if you want a game to come out nowadays and you want it to capture people, I'm not saying it needs to be twitchy and like, you know, almost like too much to handle, because I think that's not what Halo is. Halo has a certain methodical slowness to it, but it can definitely be sped up. So I think things like sprint are fine. I really like the boost in Halo 5, kind of just being able to like quickly boost like up, down, left, right kind of thing. And the ability to kind of like thruster and like hold your spot in air is also cool, I think, even just for a second. And the slide is fine too. Like being able to slide is a standard in most game nowadays too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I think the ground pound and the Spartan charge can go. Those are kind of like gimmicky in my opinion. Like they're not advanced movement. They're just gimmicks to me. Um, I think that the movement overall in Infinite it should feel fast and fluid, modern, but importantly not twitchy. Like Halo's not a twitchy game. Halo it's a methodical skill based game. It's not about who can pull off the headshot first, because so much about Halo is having the shield and being able to dodge and go behind walls and outplay people with grenades. Like it's not about like Call of Duty's completely different, right? Because Call of Duty, you hit a headshot, they're dead usually, right? But unless you have the
Yeah.
sniper in Halo, that's not the case, right? It doesn't matter if you hit a headshot; they're gonna have some health left. So it's more about like the advanced movement's important to make it feel modern and to bring people in, and I think to keep it interesting, but it shouldn't feel twitchy, and I think that's where actually Halo 5 goes wrong, is that it leans, and you kind of alluded to this, Jim. I think it leans a little too far into the twitchy side, and you can probably even see that in my gameplay. Like, you just get caught off guard in Halo 5 and you're dead. It almost feels like Call of Duty, which, I mean, it shouldn't feel like Call of Duty. Halo should feel like Halo. So
Yeah.
I think that is it's a big one. I think that the advanced movement in Halo 5 has a place, but again, it needs to be tweaked. It needs to be refined. It can feel modern, but it still needs to feel like Halo. I know that's a really tough thing to say because, like, how do you do that? It's easy to say. It's hard to kind of accomplish. But I think that 343 has the experience now of, like, almost going too far on one end. They kind of went too far on one end of the spectrum, and now they can kind of dial it back a little bit and get it closer to where it needs to be. And hopefully Infinite will be in that spot. Um, the last thing I had was the weapon variants that were in multiplayer,
Oh
specifically Big
yeah.
Team and Warzone.
Mm-hmm.
Those are cool. Like I think those have a place, especially in non-competitive modes. Like the traditional kind of like 4v4 Spartan mode, like what I'm playing right now, competitive, no place for it. They should just be the base weapons. But in Big Team and like Warzone, who cares? Like let's have some cool weapon variants in there, and there was a lot of cool ones for sure. So I think more of that is perfectly fine, and even having those pop up in the campaign, like imagine you're playing through the campaign and you climb up this big kind of tower area and there's a Nornfang sitting up there, like from like Linda's sniper or like something like that, and it's like, oh, like sweet, like how did this get here? And like you can take that and all of a sudden you have this really powerful sniper rifle and you're on top of the map and you can kind of like really scope out everything. Like there's definitely some cool things they could do there. So there Halo 5 gets a lot of bad rep, and I think deservedly so, but there are some good things they can pull from it.
You know what? One thing actually I just thought that I think Halo 5 did pretty well is they have like that, is it like a smart sight type of thing? Kind of like out in every Spartan's helmet, they kind of have like their own sights for the guns. So like using an assault rifle, in the other Halo games, when you would like aim down the sights, if you will, you would just go into your visor mode. But in Halo 5, they kind of introduced this almost like you're not doing down the sight, but you're not just hip firing either. Like there's like a sight there. It's not dedicated or whatever. It's on your HUD. But I think just that every gun kind of having the ability to have that's pretty nice. I kind of I really enjoy doing that.
Yeah,
Is that what it's called? Smart sight? I can't remember what it is, but
it's smart visor, smart scope, or something. I forget, but yeah,
yeah. But like that, every gun has that, and it's not like in Halo 2 when you first had the pistol and you tried to use a scope and you're like, why am I looking in a visor? Stuff like that. Like every gun can kind of have a sight like that. I think that's pretty cool. I like that kind of stuff.
yeah. That's it from Halo 5 for me, guys. Anything else?
No, I'm done.
No, we touched everything for me.
Cool. So the last thing I wanted to kind of talk about was, what about something that isn't in a Halo game right now? Like what's just like something cool you'd like to see?
I'd like to see a BR.
Yeah, me too. That's what I have. Jim?
So it's funny because I remember it must have been a couple episodes
Yeah,
ago.
you talked about
We
this.
talked about not wanting a BR because Halo is so good at doing what it does.
You didn't
It
want a
didn't
BR.
need a BR, but I've kind of turned the other cheek with that. I think that it would be very cool, especially since the vast majority, if we're not doing co-op games that we play, is BR, just because it's in its nature, it's different every time you play. I think Halo really could benefit from something like that now. I think it'd be very nice, especially with Infinite and the scope of it. I think it would only benefit from having a battle royale, to be honest.
Yeah. I agree. I think Halo is suited for it. Whether or not it comes out at launch or if it comes out a few months after launch, maybe it's not even a traditional BR like we're thinking. Maybe it's almost like a different take on a battle
Oh
royale.
yeah.
You know, like maybe that's why
Yeah.
they're not really talking about it, because
Um,
it's not what we're thinking a battle royale is like. Maybe it's kind of something different. You know?
its own thing.
Yeah. Which, I mean, hey, if it's good, it's good, man. Like, I don't care. I just like, give me a reason to play Halo. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that's one thing I would really like in Infinite is a battle royale. But again, if they do something different and it's kind of the same thing, then
Battle Royale esque.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Something where it's different every time and it's a large scale and it's kind of open and they've kind of alluded to this too, where like it was I was actually in that same kind of quoting thing when I was going before with the community manager. He's like, well, you know, will we do a traditional battle royale where everyone hops out of a bus and a plane? I don't know, but are we interested in doing like big social modes where it's kind of dynamic and things are different every time? Absolutely. Like they've said that on record. So to me, it's like, okay, so maybe it's not a battle royale like we're thinking, where, you know, we're all in a Pelican and we drop into a map. Maybe it's something different where, you know, it's battle royale esque.
What I kind of think of, or what I draw from, is Cold Wars. Call of Duty Cold War. This kind of new mode is called a Dirty Bomb.
Yeah.
Excellent mode. Excellent.
It's like Battle Royale esque, but it's not like Last Team Standing. It's more objective based, where you have to like collect resources and detonate nukes, like mini nukes, affect the map. I think they could do some kind of stuff with that with Infinite. Um, I don't know. Maybe if Flood are in the game, let's say, maybe there's a little pocket, what you would call them, little hives, maybe tiny little colonies of Flood that like spit out little Flood NPCs, and then, you know, a bunch of, you know, teams of Spartans tasked with destroying these like nests or something like that. And you kind of get the battle royale esque where it's like you get score for doing that.
Yeah, it's almost like you're battling for
something like
points,
that.
but you're also battling the other teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be seen as a not like trying to kill other Spartans, but more like trying to like prove your mettle.
Yeah.
You're trying to
Yeah.
compete, maybe. No.
Yeah.
There's many ways they could go.
Big time.
Directions.
Big time. I think they'll do something.
They've had the time to do it.
They've had lots of time to do it.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, the multiplayer is kind of in a better spot than the campaign was. So, maybe not from a beta perspective, but just from like a pure development perspective, there wasn't as much controversy over there. So, maybe that, you know, maybe they've had more time to, you know, these extra few months have given them more time to develop a really cool mode like that or something. But yeah, that's
when that update.
Yeah, well, exactly. We'll see in the high level update what they're going to tell us. I don't know if they'll go too into depth into modes and stuff like that, but maybe they'll tell us release date and maybe they'll tell us beta date or something like that. And that's also the question of the week for everyone in chat and for everyone watching the VOD. What do you want the most in Halo Infinite? So let us know in the comments below, and we'll try to read your questions next week on next week's episode. That's all I got for this week, guys. Anything else you guys wanted to touch on? I take that as a no.
Oh. Actually, I just thought of something. This I should have put this in this should have been the news segment, but I remember just reading quickly that Dauntless, that free-to-play game that's like Monster Hunter, apparently is going open world. So it'll be open world integration and open world game modes in that game now, as opposed to just going from lobby to lobby hunting stuff. I guess it's going to be open world now, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's all right.
Like kind of more like Monster Hunter.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
But that's pretty much it. I hope Halo Infinite's good, and I can't wait to see what news comes out in the coming weeks.
Yeah, and then we've all just talked about like cool things from other Halo games that we want to put in. Honestly, if they put none of that in and it's just a good game, like, I don't know, I'm not gonna bitch. Like, I just want Halo Infinite to be good, man. I think that's what everyone wants. And I think that's why there's so much.
I just want it to come out.
Yeah, well, that too.
Mm.
But I mean, like, we want it to be good. We don't
Mhm.
want it just to come out, right? We want it to be good. So I think that's why there's so much, I guess, talk about Halo Infinite, and usually why it's negative and why people are being so critical about it is because they just want Halo to be, they want it to be good again. There's so many people that played Halo in its kind of heyday of Halo 2 and Halo 3 and they just kind of want that nostalgia back. And nostalgia is so powerful nowadays, you know? So I think that's what everyone's looking for.
Yeah,
I think that's what they're working
for
towards.
sure. Like, Salt is a big seller too, so.
Big seller, exactly. So, but that is it for this week's episode of Follow My Tracers. We've talked about the question of the week. What do you want most in Halo Infinite? So leave a comment and we will read them out on the next episode. And if you want to stay up to date with us, you can subscribe to us here on YouTube, and you will be notified when we go live or when the VOD goes up. You can follow us at FMT Show and on Facebook at Follow My Tracers, and you can see all of our social links below there. Personally, if you guys want to follow me, you can follow me at Figure9TV on Twitter and Figure9 on Twitch, and also Figure9TV on Xbox if you want to follow me there. Jimmy, what about you?
If you want to follow me or as a friend on Xbox or whatever, I'm at PowerGrudge. That's pretty much the only social media thing I have to plug, really. It's not really social media, so there you go.
And Harley, you're good normally?
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Cool. One thing I will mention is that I am starting to stream a little bit more again on Twitch, so if you guys want to follow me there, I would appreciate that. I'm going to be doing more Xbox stuff, maybe a bit of Pokemon stuff. I'm kind of figuring out what I want to do on that side, but I'm going to try to stream a couple days a week now that I've kind of figured out the setup for my current location in terms of not dropping a billion frames a second. We didn't make it all the way through my Halo gameplay here, guys. This is my last placement match. It's about to end. I almost want to stretch it out so everyone sees how it ends.
Just like
Sure, why not?
Just a little bit.
minutes.
Yeah. So what are we going to play tonight?
Yeah, it'd be cool to see your placement.
It's not great. it's not it's
We placed as a team not too long ago.
yeah. So
For us, just for me and Jim, is it better or worse?
it's worse. It's worse.
Oh, I was a very respectable gold 4.
Oh,
And
it was
we
high.
played-
It was higher.
I didn't even place.
Yeah, you didn't have enough placement matches yet. It was higher than Gold 4, Jim, but it was lower than my Diamond 2 that I got last time. So everyone's gonna see it here in a second. I had a lot of struggling with playing on these games because there were some games, since it was solo and duo queue, where the people were actually doing the objectives with me. There it is, Platinum 6. So I'm almost Diamond, Platinum 6.
Oh, wow.
But there was a lot of other games where it was just like they were just doing their own thing, and I was trying to run the flag and they just weren't caring, and yeah, it was tough. So I'd much rather play with you guys because we actually communicate. I find that we're good at those objective types.
Oh, I think so too. They're like my favorite games to play in Halo. Universally, I stand by this. The greatest multiplayer game mode, because it's simple, but there's so many different ways to approach it, is capture the flag. I will stand by that in any game. Capture the flag is the king of multiplayer.
Capture the flag's always good. You're right. Always good. Okay, and that's it. I just wanted to stretch it out that extra minute so everyone saw the end of the 10 matches there that I played. I figured it'd be kind of weird to end with like 2 minutes left on the last game. So again,
Yeah.
I already said everything. So everything that all of our socials and all the info is in the description, and it's also on screen here. So we'd appreciate all the support, and thank you all for all the support so far. We're gonna go play some games, probably some Fortnite Season 5. We'll see where else the night takes us. But until then, this has been Follow My Tracers. Everyone have a great weekend, and we'll chat again next week.